They said they are going to get 2/3 majority. So if they don't get 2/3 majority, they don't care if they get 5 million votes. They don't care if they get 5 million votes. As long as it's not 2/3 majority, they're not going to accept the election results. Guys, I told you, please brace yourselves. Please brace yourselves. You know how active Jacob Zuma supporters are. Right now, as we speak, after this statement by MK Party saying that we are rejecting the election results, the ground forces of MK, they're simply waiting for Jacob Zuma to signal something so that they can plunge the country into chaos.
The 360 experience with Thomas M.
You know, guys, a couple of months ago, I came on the platform and I said, guys, please brace yourselves. There is going to be chaos in South Africa after the elections. I told you that certain political parties are not going to accept the election results. Certain political parties have been hinting that they are not going to accept the election results. Me, personally, I am not shocked to see the same political parties coming out in the media and saying that we are not going to accept the election results. I am not shocked, because for the longest time, these people have actually been hinting to South Africans that, guys, we want to cause chaos. We are not interested about participating in the elections. We are not interested about all of that. We just want to cause chaos. Guys, I said Ace Magashule, MK Party, and the EFF, there is no way they are going to accept the election results. I remember some people actually said that, Thomas, you are a conspiracy theorist. You are a conspiracy theorist. And that is dangerous. You must not be a conspiracy theorist, because you are spreading rumors. You are making people feel anxious about everything that is happening in the country. They called me with all the names. But here we are. The elections results are being counted. They are being finalized. And we already have political parties that are saying, no, we are not going to accept this. Guys, you remember 4 months ago, I came on the platform after Ace Magashule went out and said that as black parties, we are not going to allow the ANC to rig the results. I came on the platform and I said, guys, Ace Magashule just told you straight up that we are not going to accept the election results. Ace Magashule went out and told South Africans that we know how the ANC operates. This is the reason why we are not going to accept the election results. I said these people are not going to accept the election results. It doesn't matter if the election results favor them or not. They just want to cause chaos. They are not going to accept it. Because as we speak, Ace Magashule is out in the media and saying that IEC has actually rigged the elections in favor of the ANC and the DA. Umkhonto weSizwe, the political party that has literally wiped out the EFF. You would think that Umkhonto weSizwe will be out there celebrating with Jacob Zuma that we are the third biggest party in the country, and this party was formed 5 months ago. You would think that these people would actually celebrate the fact that they got millions of votes. No, it was not their intentions to actually celebrate winning. No, it was not their intention. The intention was to actually cause chaos in the country. If you don't believe me, this is what I said 4 months ago.
We are going to win. We are going to win elections. Very confident. There's not going to be any rigging of elections. Our eyes are going to be open because we know. I've been part of the ANC. We know what's going to happen, and all as black parties we have met and we have agreed that we are not going to allow any elections to be rigged.
All as black parties, we have come together and we are not going to allow any elections to be rigged. As black parties, we came together and said we are not going to accept the election results. We know how the African National Congress operates. Jacob Zuma, you were the president of the ANC. I was the Secretary General of the ANC. We know how the ANC operates. We have come together, we have decided to come together, and we are not going to accept the election results. Guys, these people are not going to accept the election results. They are not going to accept the election results. There's going to be chaos after the elections in South Africa. There's going to be chaos, guys. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. There's going to be chaos in South Africa after the election results. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be chaos. Whether we choose to pay attention to what Ace Magashule said, or whether you simply take Ace Magashule. Man, I know many people do not take Ace Magashule serious. Even if you don't take Ace Magashule serious, but this man was the Secretary General of the African National Congress. When he tells you that I know what happens within the ANC, he knows what happens within the ANC. When he tells you that all of us have come together and decided that we are not going to allow any rigging of the elections, it tells you that Ace Magashule, Jacob Zuma, Andile Mqitama, and some of the political parties that are going to join that whole MK caucus thing, they have decided that, man, we are not going to accept the election results simply because we know how the ANC operates. These people used to rig the results, and we are not going to accept that. We are not going to accept that. What do people think is going to happen in the country, man, if Jacob Zuma denies the elections? Guys, I'm going to speak about this again. You remember in 2021, when Jacob Zuma was rightfully thrown to jail, you remember what happened in KZN, you remember what happened in a couple of places in South Africa of Jacob Zuma supporters. You remember what happened. These people, man, they have ransacked the malls, they've burned down the infrastructure. Today, as we speak, man, we have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people who have lost their jobs simply because some people decided that Jacob Zuma is above the law. Today, you have the people, man, that are sitting at home. They are not working. These people, man, their places of work were ransacked. Their places of work were burned down by the supporters who believe that Jacob Zuma is above the law. So if Jacob Zuma comes out and says, guys, I know how the ANC operates. These election results were rigged. What do you think these people are going to do? What do you think Ace Magashule is going to do when Ace Magashule comes to the Free State and says, guys, the ANC has kicked me out, but I know how the ANC operates and we are not going to allow that. The ANC has rigged the elections. What if Julius Malema joins that whole train of these people and coming out and say, guys, as EFF, we were projecting to hit at 20 or 15, but now we have declined to 7%, and we believe these are the results of the election rigging. What do you think is going to happen to the country? So, guys, I'm simply going to tell you that, guys, please brace yourself for what's about to happen after the elections, because Ace Magashule told you. He told you that I was within the African National Congress. I know how these people operate. We have decided to come together and said that, man, we are not going to accept any election rigging. They are not prepared to accept the election results. Guys, this is what I said 4 months ago. It's what I said 4 months ago. I said these people, there is no way in hell they are going to accept the election results. Participating in the elections is just to save face. Actually, what they want is to cause chaos in the country. And it looks like I was not wrong, because last night, the MK party actually had a press briefing. And on that briefing, they said that we reject these election results.
MK party is indeed objecting to the result of the elections. According to the numbers released by the Independent Electoral Commission, the party is doing well, being among the top 4 parties in the national results. But the MK is calling for a manual count of the votes.
Receiving a lot of complaints and information from our party agents where result slips that are compiled by presiding officers are not in line with what we've been presented and recorded by our party agents, and that also directly impacts on the numbers that you are seeing behind us. So in potential or primarily we are saying now, we don't recognize these results, we object them. We are calling for immediate manual counting because this has infringed on the rights of South Africans, to decide a government of their choice. And they also did not communicate effectively the changes in the electoral constitution, the Electoral Act, particularly Section 24, where members of the society can only exercise their rights to vote in districts that which they would have been registered for at. And that was not effectively communicated. And that also denied them their democratic right to decide on a party and a government of their choice. And now that has led us to this situation where we have to take a stand and decide, in fact, shun this exercise and say, IEC, your integrity is gone. You are not impartial, you are not independent. In fact, you are aiding whatever it is that you were doing against the independence and the participation of parties in them deciding the government of their choice and what they want. So this is the position we're making. We are rejecting these outcomes. We are rejecting these results.
Guys, some people would actually sit back and say, why would MK reject the election results when they have done so well? The reason is because Jacob Zuma has been talking about the 2/3 majority. Jacob Zuma has been screaming the 2/3 majority. And MK, it is not going to accept anything less than the 2/3 majority. These people, guys, are insane. These people are insane. They said they are going to get 2/3 majority. So if they don't get 2/3 majority, they don't care if they get 5 million votes. They don't care if they get 5 million votes. As long as it's not 2/3 majority, they are not going to accept the election results. Guys, I told you, please brace yourselves. Please brace yourselves. You know how active Jacob Zuma supporters are. Right now, as we speak, after this statement by MK Party saying that we are rejecting the election results, the ground forces of MK, they're simply waiting for Jacob Zuma to signal something so that they can plunge the country into chaos. They are waiting for Jacob Zuma to say something so that they can plunge this whole country into the chaos. There is nothing that is going to satisfy these people. If you think that MK Party getting millions and millions of votes was actually going to please them, then you are wrong. I told you a long time ago that these people are not going to be satisfied by anything. And if IEC disagrees with what these people are saying, they're going to take it to the streets. And Ace Magashule, again, is one person that has been so vocal about this thing of the IEC rigging the elections recently. I mean, yesterday, Ace Magashule did an interview with Newsroom Africa, and he said the same thing that MK is saying. Right now, as we speak, Julius Malema is doing the press conference of the EFF. I think we will talk about the results of that press conference later, but let me see if the press conference has actually started, because the EFF supporters are actually not happy too about the fact that EFF has declined. I told you that, guys, if the EFF declines, no one is actually going to accept that. It looks like the press conference has already started. So after we play this video by Ace Magashule, we're going to go to that press conference and listen to what Julius Malema is saying. I told you guys, please brace yourselves, man. These individuals are dangerous. These people are dangerous.
Ace Magashule, seated next to me. He is the leader of the African Congress Transformation, ACT for short. Mr. Magashule, good evening to you, and it's good to have you here. Already, there is a headline today about your performance in the Free State.
I mean, like, looking at Ace Magashule, as someone who is reasonable, you know that there is no way Ace Magashule was going to win the Free State. Ace Magashule is not as popular as Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma is super popular. That's why it was so easy for Jacob Zuma to actually grab KZN. But when it comes to Ace Magashule, he's not so popular. But his utterances can actually be dangerous. Because you have to understand that even if you don't live in the Free State, many people in the Free State, they love Ace Magashule. So if Ace Magashule comes back home and starts spreading that word and saying, guys, they robbed us of our votes. You saw how many votes that I got. It was embarrassing. I got less than 10,000 votes. Do you guys think that it was fair for them to give us less than 10,000? People will go up and start protesting. Just like how they protested when the ANC kicked them out. The people there in Paris, they started burning things, burning tires, destroying infrastructure, because Ace Magashule was kicked out by the ANC. So if the same Ace Magashule comes back to the Free State, the place where he actually has support, if he comes back and says that, guys, we need to take it to the streets, we need to protest, because after all, protesting is our right in South Africa. Protesting is encouraged in South Africa. So if Ace Magashule starts saying those things, people are going to take it to the streets. I know the people that don't live in the Free State, they actually think that Ace Magashule is a small fish. No, Ace Magashule is not a small fish in the Free State. He actually has a lot of support. He actually has a lot of support in the Free State. Many people are actually fond of Ace Magashule in the Free State. I don't know if those people would actually want Ace Magashule to be the president. I think this is the reason why they did not vote for him, just because they like him. I don't think he would have made a better president. But when it comes to liking him as an individual, many people in the Free State, they are actually fond of Ace Magashule. So be very careful, because if Jacob Zuma takes the same message to KZN, Julius Malema takes the same message to Gauteng, and Ace Magashule takes the same message to the Free State, before we even know it, this country could be plunged into chaos. He was never going to accept the election results. Never. There is nothing that was ever going to satisfy these people. Because when you think about Jacob Zuma said that one of the things that Jacob Zuma said is that I want to go back and be the president of the country so that I can finish off what I started. And the only way Jacob Zuma can actually finish off what he started is if his party wins with the 2/3 majority. Now that MK party doesn't have 2/3 majority, Jacob Zuma is going to come out and say that these election results were rigged. He doesn't care about the millions of votes. He doesn't care. He wants a 2/3 majority. And if IEC is not going to present 2/3 majority to him, then it means that all the results were rigged. He told you that I want to go back and be the president of the country. He told you. He told you. Right now, MK was questioned that, guys, are you going to be open to the idea of going into coalition with the ANC? And guess what? The MK said, no, we are not going to get into the coalition with the ANC of Ramaphosa. Meaning that they want the ANC to sack Ramaphosa. But naive people actually think that if ANC sacks Ramaphosa and get rid of Ramaphosa, it's going to be enough for MK. What Jacob Zuma wants is the party that is, what Jacob Zuma wants is the coalition that is actually going to allow him to be the president. So even if ANC gets rid of Ramaphosa, it's not going to be enough for Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma is still going to go back to the table and say, guys, I want you to make me a president. I know that I don't have as much votes as the ANC, but I want you to make me a president. And that is the only condition MK can go into coalition with you. What do you think the ANC is going to do? This is the reason why I say that the ANC needs to be careful about these utterances of MK, saying that if you want us to go into coalition with you, you have to get rid of Ramaphosa. It is not going to be enough. ANC can come with Mashatile. ANC can come with Mashatile and say that we just got rid of Ramaphosa, and now we have Mashatile. Can we please start the negotiations about governing the country together? Jacob Zuma is still going to say, no, I want you to make me a president. He told you guys, he told you that the only reason why he started all of this is so that he can go back to the office and finish off his term. What Jacob Zuma wants is to finish off his term. So the conditions that he's given to the ANC, they are never going to be enough for him. The only condition that is going to be enough is if the ANC actually allows him to be the president of the country in that coalition. That is the only thing that Jacob Zuma is going to accept. So I advise the ANC to be very careful if they want to get rid of Ramaphosa, thinking that they can please the MK. The MK is not going to be pleased by that. The only thing that is going to please MK is if Jacob Zuma becomes the president of the country. That's what they want. That's what they want. So if Jacob Zuma has no chances of becoming the president of the country, then MK sees this whole exercise as useless. They see this whole exercise as useless. So they're going to take it to the streets and say that, guys, we have been robbed of the results. Man, people called me a conspiracy theorist, man, when I kept telling them about this thing.
In particular, and the headline goes that has now been shattered, that quote-unquote pipe dream has been shattered. What do you have to say for yourself?
There is no pipe dream, Cody, but before I say anything, let me greet your viewers out there and thank all the voters in the country. Peaceful elections, wonderful. That's what South Africa needs. Pipe dream, no. The votes have been rigged in the Free State in huge numbers.
Okay, that's a very serious accusation against the IEC, because that's who conducts these elections. Have you lodged a complaint, complaints?
Ole, in terms of code of conduct, the rules of IEC, we have to lodge any objections, complaints before 9 o'clock today. We have done so because even lawyers advised us that collect all the information, lodge it before we go to court, so that we are not seen as spoilers. We want free and fair elections in the country. I can tell you what you see on the screen does not reflect what is on the ground there in terms of the election results from our party agents, some even from the IEC.
Let's assume that these allegations of rigging were not the subject matter. Do you think you would have taken the Free State?
We have performed very well in the Free State. As the Western Cape parties are calling for a recount, let's just do the recount and go town by town, as I will show you, because that's what we have reported to IEC blow by blow, point by point. If IEC can allow us to do a recount, a can of worms is going to be opened and South Africans are going to be surprised. I know we have performed very well in the Free State. There is no way in the Free State, in Mangaung, we'll get 800 votes out of 134,000, where we have the support.
Let me say this.
But how are you sure? Because this is another thing with political parties that are saying that our votes were rigged. We know that our people voted for us. How do you know? Because when people go to the booth, they make their own decision. I mean, right now, as we speak, there's been a talk that is going outside saying that who are these people that actually voted for the DA? It's impossible for the DA to get as many votes. I mean, people don't care about the fact that in the last elections, the DA got over 2 million votes. But in 2024, when the DA gets over 2 million votes, the same people are now complaining. The same people are now complaining. So even if the IEC recounts, do you think that is going to please these people? Do you think that these people are going to be satisfied? Do you think that if Ace Magashule's party, that is currently sitting on 14,000 votes, and now that the IEC has recounted, and they got their 2,000 and they got their 3,000 votes that were actually missing, do you think that is going to be enough for Ace Magashule? Because deep down in his mind, he believes that he's Jacob Zuma. He believes that in Free State they've actually welcomed him like Jacob Zuma. He believes what MK did in KZN is what ACT did in the Free State. He's simply going to ignore the fact that the Free State has always been an ANC province. He's simply going to ignore that ANC has been tussling with the DA and now with the EFF. He's going to ignore all of that and pretend that suddenly the people that have been voting for the ANC for the longest time are now going to vote for him. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And if you are quite popular in a certain place, it is so easy for you to do what Ace Magashule is doing right now. He knows exactly what he's doing. So even the recount is not going to satisfy these people. Even the recount, it is not going to satisfy these people. Jacob Zuma wants MK to get 10 million votes. If MK doesn't get maybe like something like 10 million votes, it is never going to be enough for him. It is never going to be enough for him. Jacob Zuma was never intending on sitting on the opposition benches. It was never his intention. And to South Africans, Jacob Zuma has made it quite clear that the ANC has mistreated me and never allowed me to finish off my term. He has been speaking about these things on his rallies, that I want to be the president of the country again so that I can finish off what I started. So nothing is ever going to be enough for these people. It is never going to be enough. Even the recount, IEC must be careful of actually succumbing to these people, because if they allow the likes of Ace Magashule, Jacob Zuma, EFF to get away with this, they're going to regret. They will regret. A recount is never going to be enough.
Additionally, I'm looking at your numbers. ACT has amassed 16,992 votes. That's a 0.1%. That's the national picture. You put that against the performance of someone, let's put it this way, someone who politically would be regarded as akin to the same league as you when you were both in the ANC, Jacob Zuma. The MK party is doing something that no one expected. Do you regret not throwing your lot with him?
No, Cody. Let's do the recount, and South Africans will know the truth. We're not just trying to be out there in the public. We will be playing with the what of our people. Let's just do the recount. You'll see that what I'm talking about. Let me cite one example. In one VD, we get 300 votes. What is registered here is 30. The same IEC with their own results in the area called Malutia Pofu. Now I'm going to details of what we have given IEC. Their results, which they have given to us in terms of the election result slips, does not reflect what they have put here in terms of Malutia Pofu. Completely. In Excelsior, all the ballots are not there. The ballot boxes are there, the ballots are not there. And there we have a strong hold. 98% of the community, not just voters of that area, are completely ACT members.
Yeah.
There is no way, Koli, they will go and vote any other party.
Let me say this.
You hear that? There's no way they will ever vote for another party. Like, he's dismissing the facts that are there. He's dismissing the facts that are there. He is dismissing the facts that are there. Free State has always been a province that votes for the ANC. For Ace Magashule to think that it's only going to take one election for him to do what Jacob Zuma done, like, it tells you everything that you need to know about him. It tells you everything that you need to know about him.
If indeed your complaints, and I'm not going to, by the way, challenge them because I have no such capacity. Mine is to simply ask you questions. If indeed ACT was performing so well that now you are citing allegations of rigging because they possibly, jealous of Ace Magashule and his performance in his hometown. Let me say this, Mr. Magashule. You are not even in the top 5. I've looked at the top 5. Do you know which party is number 5?
Deliberately
Patriotic
so.
Alliance.
Deliberately so, my brother. Just allow the recount to happen. You will see what is happening in that province.
So let me then say this on the back of that. Do you think this is the people of the Free State essentially telling you about the legacy you have left in that province after running it for a very long time?
No. In one station, maybe I should not mention it here. In one station, I've shown you the presiding officer in one of the town with ballot papers in her office, marking the ballot papers. I've shown you one of the election result slips where our members refused, party agents refused to sign. It's not one, it's many. I can go town by town. In my town, they know that they couldn't do that. The results there are very open and very clear. Yeah. The rest of the province, I can tell you, just allow us South Africans, IEC, just do a recount. Okay. And we can't lie. We can't come here and publicly we tell all South Africans that, hey, something is irregular that side.
Yeah. That said, Mr. Magashule, the legacy that you've left in the Free State province, in your own words, how would you sum it up?
The media has been going with me to the Free State, almost covered all parts of the Free State during the campaign, even before that, as they attend the case. They know what people think about our legacy, because I was not leading as an individual. There was a collective around me, but I was leading. I've left the right wing. The legacy will remain forever.
Ace Magashule says the legacy will remain forever. Says the legacy will remain forever. In his mind, he has done a wonderful job in the Free State. This is despite all the accusations that have been leveled against him. He has done wonderful for the people of the Free State. And this is why he feels entitled to the votes of the people of the Free State. So if IEC actually falls for this recount nonsense, they will have no one else to blame but themselves. If IEC goes for the recount, they will have no one else to blame but themselves. Because I can tell you now for free, the same way I told you 4 months ago, that these people are never going to accept the election results. If IEC allows the recount to happen, and these people do not get the results that they want, they're going to destroy the country. They're going to destroy the country. And IEC will have no one else to blame but themselves. They will have no one else to blame but themselves. Guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba, so I will see you next time. Guys, we will do the video of Julius Malema after the press conference has ended. Let's see what Julius Malema has to say. Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba, so I will see you next time. Bye-bye.